state regime media, which calls itself Fox News, was crashing on live TV as the Epstein file vote passed in both the House and then by unanimous consent in the Senate when MAGA Mike and Trump were not expecting it. Also, there was horrible jobs data that was released yesterday showing more job losses. The Trump economy is an absolute disaster, and Trump's approval is like the worst in modern presidential history. So how is Fox trying to cope? What brainwashing tactics are they using against their viewers? I want you to watch Fox in freakout mode right now. You have one of their hosts on the 5 say, consumer confidence is down so much, but things are going so great and prices are down. Why is it that consumers are struggling or saying that they're struggling? Well, it's because prices are up and you're lying and your propaganda isn't working. Here, play this clip.
But what is down, to both your points, is consumer confidence. It's down 10% since Trump took office. And so you have to ask why that is, why people feel that way, even though prices are down, gas is down, oil is down, some food prices are down. Why do they feel that way? And Republicans would be very smart not to ignore that.
Then you have Greg Gutfeld trying to cope with why Donald Trump is so angry about the release of the Epstein files. And he goes, or the vote to release the Epstein files. And Gutfeld's like, Donald Trump, he's so pissed off because he always wants to extract dirt on people. So I think he's upset that he wasn't able to make a deal to maybe hold the files over the head of people like Prince Andrew. Dude, what are you talking about? Here, play this clip.
Now, Trump's pissed off, I think, because he looks at everything as leverage. And it's like, we're going to give this away? This big treasure trove of stuff. At least let me look through it to see if we got any stuff on the guy in Colombia, or if we got any more stuff on Prince Andrew. Maybe we can get something out of England. I don't know. He might look at it that way. And also, he also knows that the media will weaponize any kind of distraction away from the work that he's doing with this story, which they chose not to do under Biden.
And then you have Larry Kudlow bring in Brooke Rollins. When they're on together on Fox, it's always like a really weird back and forth. So I'll give you that warning right there. And Brooke Rollins is like, one of the untold stories right now is how cheap things are. Prices across the board are going down. We've made everything cheaper and the American people love us. This is actually the propaganda they're spewing on Fox. And I feel like the more they go down this path and just treat their viewer as just absolutely stupid, you're seeing a massive backlash here. Let's play this clip.
Apart from solving eggs, and by the way, grocery prices are being solved too. Tell me about the SNAP program, the need for reform, waste, fraud, and abuse. Why is it we have still 42 million people up there? What you going after over at USDA?
Well, hello, my best friend Larry. It's so great to be on. Beautiful, chilly night here at the White House. But yeah, first the president on eggs. That conversation I was in, should we do plastic eggs? Should we not? He said, Brooke, we're not going to have plastic eggs at the Easter egg roll at the White House. Go get the price of eggs down. And really in almost 10 months, it's down 86%, right, the price of eggs. But to your question, this president has been, as you know, because you know him so well, resolutely focused on making America more affordable again. And Larry, one of the great untold stories is in just 10 months, almost everything does cost less.
But Fox continues the propaganda line right here. And then you have one of the Fox hosts say, one of the big things to come out of this meeting between Donald Trump and the Saudi crown prince is that they've agreed to invest another $1.1 trillion in the United States economy. Like, do y'all realize that the entire GDP of Saudi Arabia is like $1 trillion? So they're not giving their entire GDP to the United States. This is quite literally all made up. This is all a scam. They're not giving $1 trillion. They're not giving $500 billion. They are doing business with Donald Trump's family company and the Trump Organization, where they're doing billions of dollars in real estate deals and the like. And Trump's getting rich, but Yeah, they're not investing $1 trillion in the United States. Here, play this clip.
It set the tone for some very generous announcements from the Saudi side. The Saudis now say that their investment pledge in the United States will be increased to $1 trillion over the next several years. The first part of that investment in infrastructure projects, like the $14.2 billion the Saudis spent with GE Vernova. The project will build heavy-duty gas turbines and create 1,800 jobs in Greenville, South Carolina.
By the way, they also claim Qatar has invested $1 trillion, and the entire GDP of Qatar is like $144 billion. Then you have Lindsey Graham on Fox. He's on the Hannity show, and Lindsey Graham's like, ooh, I can't wait to sue the government and get that taxpayer money because I've been emotionally damaged when special counsel Jack Smith issued a subpoena and got the digits to my phone in connection with a lawfully authorized subpoena that federal court said were okay in connection with the criminal investigation into January 6th. I'm going to sue for tens of millions of dollars. Lindsey Graham and the Republicans literally gave themselves a cause of action and then removed in the legislation any defenses that the government has against their lawsuits so that they can make tens of millions of dollars because their phone number showed up in subpoenas related to the January 6th insurrection because they were involved in speaking with Donald Trump around that time. Here's what Lindsey Graham says. Play this clip.
And come after people like me. I'm not going to put up with this crap anymore. I'm going to sue. I'm going to sue the hell out of these people.
How much you going to sue them for?
Tens of millions of dollars because I went to Fannie Willis in Atlanta, spent $1.2 million with that bullshit in Atlanta. Now I find out they spy on my phone records as a senator and a private citizen, chairman of the Judiciary Committee in 2023. I'm going to sue. If you don't sue, they'll keep doing it. Don't run away from this, Republicans. Fight back.
And then Fox sends one of its hosts to Charlotte, where there are peaceful protests taking place in Charlotte based on Donald Trump sending his Gestapo, the Border Patrol, and ICE agents to terrorize and harass the communities there. It's like 20% of students are not going to school right now because they're terrified of the ICE Gestapo attacking them on the streets and raiding the stores. And so this reporter's like, the protest is getting dangerous right now. And it's like, you'll see like a frog dancing in the background, like a frog costume person dancing in the background. Here, play this clip.
Well, Sean, as the night goes on, this protest is growing. Things are getting more chaotic, more intense. And I gotta say, it's turned into an arguably dangerous situation. As you can see behind me right now, people have been going around hanging out of their cars. I mean, we're in the middle of the road right now. People are burning rubber. So if you guys see smoke at any point, that's what that is. And yeah, there are children here. So we will see how it goes as the night goes on.
Do you struggle with focus, productivity, or efficiency like I do? Maybe you have ADHD and are looking for tools to help you. Everyday Dose has a combination of coffee and nootropics and Lion's Made that help with focus and mood improvement. Now, as you know, we have a very busy and even hectic schedule sometimes here at MeidasTouch. We're constantly on the go, and while I love my coffee, I'm looking for something better. A simple but effective alternative that doesn't take even more time out of my day. Everyday Dose is my new coffee alternative. It tastes just like coffee, but it's enhanced with collagen, protein, nootropics, and functional mushrooms, and my gut and brain have never been happier. It takes 30 seconds to make, and I never run out of ingredients that I need. Everyday Dose has been a savior for my body. It's not only an incredible coffee, it also has collagen and functional mushrooms that get rid of any negative side effects of coffee on my stomach. If normal coffee is like a flip phone, Everyday Dose is like a smartphone. It's coffee, and yes, it tastes like coffee, but it has all three other functional benefits that get you ready for 2026. Now, Everyday Dose is coffee plus benefits. They combine high quality coffee with powerful ingredients like Lion's Made and chaga, collagen, protein, and nootropics to fuel your brain, boost focus, and give you clean, sustained energy all day long. It tastes just like coffee without the downside, no crash, no jitters, just clean, sustained energy. Get 61% off your first Coffee Plus starter kit, a free A2 Probiotic Creamer with over $100 in free gifts by going to everydaydose.com/Meidas or entering Meidas at checkout. That's everydaydose.com/Meidas for 61% off your first order. Everyday Dose is also available at your local Target.
Okay, so then they bring on Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, and Bret Baier interviews him. So Bret Baier actually asked a decent question here. So what's the timetable for the investment that like Saudi Arabia talks about? Like, so when you say that they're bringing in $1 trillion, assume it's true. What's the timetable when this money arrives? And even Treasury Secretary Bessent is like, well, I think we'd like to see it happen during his term. Like to see it happen during. When is this going to happen? It just made up, huh? It just made up. Here, play this clip.
You talk about the other investments and the AI and the nuclear. What's the timetable for investments like that? When you hear $1 trillion, what are we thinking timetable?
Well, I can tell you the president's very keen for it to happen during his term, and we're already seeing a lot of it start to flow in. So when we talk about the investments, some of it's going to be in buying the chips. We had someone in the Oval today who's a direct beneficiary of Saudi orders for power turbines. So I think the president is always in a hurry to help the American people, and he has conveyed that to the Saudis.
And then Bret Baier says, well, what do you say to people who want to know what the real number is? What's the real amount of investment that's being made in the United States? Can you tell us the real number? Decent question. Not a great question, but decent question. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says, well, Donald Trump uses the number 20 trillion in terms of total investment, and I think those commitments are real. Just think about that. The Treasury Secretary says, I think those commitments are real. Newsflash, narrator, they're not real, but you're just making stuff up. I think those commitments are real. Oh, because Donald Trump tells the truth about all of these things. If it was real, wouldn't we see a massive reduction in our deficit? But why is our deficit increasing year over year now more than it was under former President Biden? If all of this investment money was flowing in, why does Trump say we have a liquidity issue when it comes to paying people SNAP benefits? Oh, wait a minute, because Donald Trump's a liar. Here, play this clip.
What do you say to folks who want to know a total number of all these investments that the president's bringing in, the tariffs that have been implemented and bringing in? Do you have a big figure? Do you have a total number?
Well, the president uses the number 20 trillion in terms of total investments. And I think that those commitments are real. And whether it's corporate investments, whether it's the Japanese trade deal where they're going to put in $550 billion, whether it's the Korean trade deal with $350 billion, whether it's Apple saying that they're going to reshore, I believe that they may be up to $500 billion. So it's investments like we've never seen. And Brett, just to put that in perspective, the entire Biden administration was $1 trillion. $1 trillion over 4 years, $250 billion the final year. And we've got many single investments that are bigger than the Biden administration took in 1 year. So this is America's back. The president's done that, our great tax policy. So we're deregulating, we've got tax certainty, and we're working on energy certainty.
Then you have Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, as part of his Kim Jong-un-esque propagandist approach, goes, oh, I think that Donald Trump would make a great Fed chair. He has such a exquisite understanding of monetary and macro and microeconomic policy. No, he doesn't. Donald Trump literally has bankrupted most of his companies in his life. Casino after casino, bankrupt. This business, I think if there was a Guinness Book of Records for the most bankrupts, Donald Trump would win. Here, play this clip.
You're not taking that job.
Brett, there are, I think, 340 million Americans now. I think I can safely say that I will not be the Fed chair. I think President Trump will make a great Fed chair. He has an open mind. He understands monetary policy better than a lot of people on the Fed.
And then Bret Baier says, okay, but these 2,000 dividend checks, which are not coming this year. You claim you're going to give $2,000, I guess, of relief to the American people. Wouldn't that inherently be inflationary? And then Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is like, if we give people $2,000, I think they're going to save it. I don't think they're going to spend it. They'll say, you think they're going to save it while people are quite literally starving to death in the United States, while people are psychologically tortured, living paycheck to paycheck right now, while people can't afford healthcare, while people can't afford anything. You think if you give them a $2,000 check, they're going to save it? There's a reason why Trump's picked you. Here, play this clip.
And my prediction is that first quarter, second quarter, what we are going to see is we have brought the inflation down. It is curving down, and real income, the other side of that equation is real income growth, and we are going to see this from all this investment.
Would a $2,000 tariff dividend check going to people be inflationary?
Well, there are a lot of things that are going to happen next year.
Is that one of them?
And that could be one of them. And again, maybe we could persuade Americans to save that, because one of the things that's going to happen next year is the Trump accounts. Every child who was born from January 1st for the next 3 years is going to get a government account that goes into the stock market. So every American child born for the next 3 years, starting January 1st, is going to have that. They can take it out when they're 18. They're going to learn the power of compounding, and there's going to be a lot of financial literacy around that. And I think the reason that we saw kind of the disastrous election in New York is young people don't feel like they have a stake in the economy. So we want to give them a stake in the economy.
And then finally, you have Donald Trump's son randomly showing up on Fox saying that he's a very sane human being. Okay, sane. That's normally what sane human beings say. They go, I'm sane. I'm like a sane guy. Here, play this clip.
Yeah, I was the first person. I'm no conspiracy theorist, right? I'm not the guy that's walking around with a tinfoil hat. In fact, I'm a very sane human being. You've known me for what, 25 years now, Martha? Like,
yep.
I think you'd say that.
There you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million subscribers, and thanks for watching.
New Midas merch. Head to store.MeidasTouch.com today and get yourself the best pro-democracy gear and show your support. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.